And now, without further ado, I have the distinguished honor and privilege of presenting to you the Queen of Color, the Mother of Artists, globally acclaimed, award-winning master acrylic artist, and the star of our show, Ginger Cook, as she once again mesmerizes her audience with the daring do's and don'ts of painting with acrylics. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Okay, we're alive. You're over there cleaning up.
I'm looking for the ruler. I panicked.
You took it to the other side. You took it to the other side.
Yeah, but I found another one.
Okay.
I just realized that I needed a ruler. And I'm going, oh gosh. Hi.
We're always prepared. We are always prepared.
I know. I guess what is it
ready.
that someone just wouldn't think it was a ginger show unless we unless I was looking for something, which is true. Okay?
Yes, you're always looking for something.
Always looking for something. And I bet you sock folders, you have everything. I know if you sock folders, if this was your show, you'd come up 30 minutes ahead of time, lay out all the paint and the rags, everything would be just perfect. I come up and I'm sorting through pencils and brushes like 3 seconds before we start, because that's just how I roll. But, it's got to make it more relaxed, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it does. No stress over here in our department.
It would just kind of,
the sock folders in this department are really stressing over this whole thing. But,
I know.
That's okay.
I know. But it's funny. But I want to be one of those people. I want to be at the airport early. It's funny.
Yeah. You want to get to the airport like 2 hours early. Me, half hour, more than enough.
No, and I just don't like to leave. Those kinds of things, I'm a stickler on being on time, that kind of stuff. And
But when it comes to the show, that's whatever.
No, I was on time as you with the, gee, we're not live. I wonder why the feed doesn't work 3 minutes before we go on. Gosh.
Hey, it's not my fault. Talk to YouTube. I was putting out the information and they said no, not good enough.
And then, the other thing that's come up in a lot of comments, you guys, welcome to, we're going to be doing a great acrylic painting, but we're just going to,
eventually. Ginger
Ginger always likes to just whine a little bit here first. Some people have said they're not getting their little notices, even the little bell underneath the subscription little icon thingy has been pushed. And guess what? YouTube just basically said, sometimes we notify you, sometimes we don't. But here's the thing. We're all grown-ups here. Except most of us are. Like 90% of us are probably. They're watching this. I mean, when my show Grey's Anatomy or something, they don't buzz me in the kitchen and say, by the way, your show's on. I know that Grey's Anatomy's on Thursdays, and I know what time it's on, and I just know to go over there. So, you can take some responsibility for you and just say, you know what, Ginger's going to be on Sunday at 2:30, and how would you know that? Well, we post that on our site. Upcoming events. It's on our
site. It's on the Facebook group, and it's on the YouTube channel.
And on the YouTube channel. So, it's not like you couldn't find the information. For instance, like next Sunday, we're not going to be live on Sunday. Why? Because John's getting surgery on Friday, and we're not sure how he will be feeling by Sunday. Probably Monday, we think we're still a go. Well, he thinks we'll be able to do it by Monday. We'll see. But for sure, not Sunday. So, there you go. So, you'll have to just check your schedule and going, gosh, I thought she was going to be on. She said every Sunday. Well, mostly every Sunday. This is a free
we do the best we can,
we
people.
Do the best we can. It's a free show, you guys. Cut us a little slack here, right? Just cut us a little slack. We're going to be painting. Our flowers have been very successful, and this old dead artist Rodin has I think Rodion, or however you say his name, right? Rodon. He's really did some fabulously beautiful florals, and very different than other people did florals. And what I particularly liked about this painting today was this sort of peach mauve pink background, which was really pretty. Kind of not very unusual for a guy to be painting a background like that. Not to disparage any guys saying that they wouldn't paint that.
I love that color.
Well, I do too, but even I wouldn't necessarily think to do it as a background, but I think this would be a beautiful greeting card, if you did it small.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, did you know that you can buy Strathmore postcards and greeting cards that come with the greeting cards come with envelopes, and they're special heavy paper. They're designed to take acrylic or watercolor or colored pencil or whatever you're going to do. And this would be pretty on those too. So just keep that in mind for some of these florals that you're learning to do. I hope you've put all of these in your playlist, made a special playlist called Florals, and added all these tutorials in there, because this is quite a collection now on YouTube. We've got a great collection, probably 10 or 15 really awesome, starting with some Van Goghs, the green vase with Van Gogh and so forth. Got some gorgeous florals
And
if
we
you
keep
like
adding.
that. And we keep
to 'em.
adding because you guys seem to like to paint them. Last week we did this
Something.
one, which was hugely successful.
Hugely.
I mean, we have like 9,000 views on it already. I mean, everybody wanted to paint this, and I think it's really pretty, and it was not hard to do, kind of fun. And that's, again, this is the same artist. Oh no, that was a different artist, that one. But that's not matter. Was it this different? Yeah, it was a different artist.
Yeah.
But it's the same idea. I mean, these beautiful florals. So we'll keep we'll keep digging up the old dead guys and see what they've come up with.
Keep digging them up and see what they have to offer.
And it's a good history of art class. And the other thing we're going to talk about today, because we're doing flower pots, let me hold this up. This is what we're painting. Okay, is that I know there's going to be a bunch of you, not fewer and fewer every time, because we really cover this, that's going to have a terrible time with this pot, which is like the easiest thing on the planet to paint. So
I bet we're going to get it out to 3D blackboard, aren't we?
So we're going to have the blackboard, and we're going to chat a little bit about that. We're going to have a giveaway at the end of the show, another one of these 10-minute paintings, and our live audience will be able to, just the live audience now, for those of you watching.
Not the dead ones.
Will be able to win it. But, this is probably one of the highlights of our shows these days are these 10-minute paintings. I see a lot of people try to do them. They may not have time all the time to do the big ones, but they might attempt a 10-minute one, and 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, usually no more than an hour for someone, they get it done, and they're very proud of it. Well done too. I want to say, well done too. So good things to look forward to in the show. All right, so I'm going to get out a chalkboard. And while we're doing that, let's thank our moderators. And hey, you guys, congratulations to our art show Saturday on our Facebook club. We found some of the most beautiful paintings that were submitted. Their original paintings that different people had done. Alicia Hugh did a wonderful one from China. And
there's tons of them.
There were tons of them. Becky Simmons, really liked her stuff. And there was another gal that had 5 people in little umbrellas under the rain. There was some.
That's a cute one.
Really cute one. I can't remember them all. I tried to comment on everybody's. There were some great ones. You guys did great. And I think it kind of gets you out of your comfort zone. One guy was whining a little bit, and I'm going to address this. And he said, I just don't want to have to talk about how I come up with this idea. Well, normally, here's what we do on our Facebook club. It's not an art gallery. It's a club. And the purpose of the club is to attract like-minded artists who share a joy in painting, helping others, and everybody's somewhere on the journey. And this particular person said, well, I'm not on any art journey. Listen, everybody's on an art journey. And if you've stopped your journey and you're not growing and you're not learning, then I'm sorry, but everybody's on some sort of an art journey. Nobody ever arrives. There is no final destination to this business of art. You can always get better and better and better. You don't just sit there and say, well, I've arrived, now I'm the best there is. Because if your mind needs you to get better. And I'll tell you what, I see people who think they're really just all that, right? And then I'm looking at their paintings and going, yeah, you've got one element painted well and another element painted well and another element painted well. Now how are you going to put them in a pleasing design? Because boy, that gets up to high math and complicated. It can get more complicated than you can imagine, right? There's always room for growth. Just there. That's my speech for the day. So just don't worry about where someone else is. Look at, what we're trying to do is, while we ask people, and the whole purpose of this little conversation was we ask people to say what inspired them, what kind of paint did they use. We have people that are using just the crummiest, cheapest, really horrifically awful paint and coming up with some pretty good paintings. And sometimes maybe someone on an art show will do something really good, and that the paint they used wasn't that great. Maybe someone else doesn't have that great a paint, and they're going, well, look, you're only going to see my example of the best paint. But you might see the example on our art show of a really good painting done with some rather poor paint, quality paint. The pigment's bad. They had to work a long time at it, and yet they came up with a good painting. And this is helpful to other people to know what you did. How did you do it? What did you think about it? Did you use 3 photos? Did you just, what was your reference? Where was your inspiration? It's good. We like to know, we like to know because it helps others. Okay, makes sense?
Hey,
Like I like to tell you where I get my inspirations. You know, I didn't make this up. I just found this old dead guy. Thought you'd like it, and we're painting it.
And we're digging them up.
And we dug him up, and we're painting it. Okay, there you go.
I like how you're saying that. Hey, we'd like to thank Kitty for the donation right off the bat, getting us started.
Oh, thank you so much. And, you know, these really make a difference to us. Again, this is a, you know, kind of a free show here. Not kind of, it just is. And, you know, we don't have any sponsors giving us paint or canvas or any of that stuff or brushes. We buy all that stuff, and we are happy to do it, and we're excited to be on live with you. I've told John often that, you know, by the time you get to my age, I've got, and been painting as many years as I have a world of tricks and knowledge and stuff that I'm happy to share with the world. And I'd like to have other people know it before I just sign off. And if I wrote a book, a few people would read it.
But
probably.
see how we're all artists, we're all visual people.
But this is, yeah, we just, anytime you can do a visual thing and explain why you're doing something. And, you know, anyway, that's part of the reason for this show. Part of the reason is to let you know that we have an art academy. And that, you know, you can get, if you really want to just up your game, boy, that personal art coaching. We do the videos now. We're doing video art coaching where I actually video myself showing you what to do to fix your painting. That has been enormously good. So
enormously, you got really big words today.
Is enormously a big word, or enormous means big? So you're confusing this?
I could be.
I think you're confusing it. All right. So look, this is what everybody does. Okay, I want to do this. Can I do this?
Oh, okay. Hello. This is
right.
not a child show.
Yeah, it is. Now look, this is what people do. They make that face when they're drawing. They almost square it off when they're drawing a pot. They'll do this. And they'll go, I don't understand why my pot didn't work, okay? This is what I see, okay? So we're going to put a big red X through that, white X through it, okay? King's X. Did you used to say that, King's X? No? King's X? All right. We're going to do big King's X through that. X-nay, all right? And though I never really got the hang of speaking Pig Latin, my sister could speak it, and she was 3 years older. She would speak it with her friends, and I always felt left out, and I never figured out how to speak it. And I always felt a little sad. But anyway, I remembered X-nay. So now, all right, so if we're not doing that, then what? All right, so think about a shape like this. If we've talked about it before, decide how big you want your pot. It doesn't have to be a rectangle of some kind like this, right? Here's the top, and then figure how wide you want your base. And that should be, the dot should be equal on both sides, right? Now, okay, this isn't tricky, right? Now slightly round the bottom, Now at the top, depending on where you're looking at it, okay, this depends on the angle of the viewer, how the top looks. But for the purpose of our discussion, right? And our viewer, our guy's kind of looking down on the pot. You see that? We're kind of standing up, kind of looking down on it. We're not looking up at it. If we were looking up at it, it would look something like this. If we were standing here looking up at this, right? You know, it would look more like that. But because we're looking down on it, we know, for instance, that we've got this curves like this, okay? And here's the lid, right? And then back up around here, just a tiny little bit, is the top of it. Okay? Then you erase all this, and you erase all that, and you've got a pot. So this is really, it can't be, and sometimes this little edge sticks out a bit from the side. Sometimes you bring this out a little bit, or this little lip of the pot sticks out a little bit, but that really can't get simpler than that. So we're not going to do any more of this, right? Kind of the squared off things that people do. We can try to avoid that, because now you know. This is like learning to draw a letter. This is the letter pot. Okay? Let's kind of put that in your mind. You're learning the letter pot, the new art letters. That's cool, right? The letter pot. I like that, don't you?
The letter pot.
The letter pot, you know. Things have gone to pot. Remember, did your brother say that? Things have gone to pot?
We'd like to thank Claudia for their donation, and I think she sent another one in through PayPal. We're going to check that here shortly.
Thank you very much. All right, so you can start with any colored 8x10 background. I've got this sort of green one, but could have been this color, could have been red. Really don't care. Just throw something on there that, you know, some sort of color. We like to color our canvases with the leftover paint so we don't waste it, and, you know, we just need something on there. Okay, so today we've picked green. Okay. So then I needed the ruler because I needed to show you where we were starting. We're starting our pot about 2.5 inches in from the side, right about there, and it's at the base. We're just going to make it. It's not quite 2 inches, but for the government purposes, we'll just say it's 2 inches, okay? And it's up about it curves, so it's up about 1/2 inch from the bottom. So you need to give yourself a little room here, okay? And the top of my pot here is going to put my. Did I bring? Oh, I didn't bring glasses, John. I need Sammy's glasses.
No, that's Chester that keeps the glasses.
Chester's 2.5 inches, I guess. 2.5 inches from the center high. Okay. All right. So I'm going to say it's about that high. That's the top part of this. And remember, you want it to kind of go up on the sides. If you're having trouble, make your rectangle and then draw it in. If you're having trouble, getting this shape, just start with your rectangle. And here's our edge here. And here's going to be the top of our pot, like this. This is this is a Conte crayon pencil. Okay. All right, you're pretty good with this now. Everybody's good with that little pot.
Hey, we'd like to thank Denise for the donation, as well as Kim, and Sissy sent something in through the PayPal system.
Oh, thank you, Sissy and Denise. You guys, you can't believe how much that helps. Thank you very much. And also, guess what we've got going on? This is so cool. We're trying to do this 4 times a year, and this is our spring art auction. And kind of, we've got, I don't know, like 25 paintings up and some puzzles, imagination claws, really neat stuff on our art auction. We started way below what any of these paintings would sell for in an art gallery. And if you've got a lot of things from our whole category of stuff that we've been teaching to choose from. So, and all the proceeds are going to go toward John's surgery. But just if you're interested in a painting, just if something really, play with the auction. You can do you can go gingercookliveauction.com is the website. All right, now, right, everybody, do you think I've got that about right? Do you think I have that tall enough from here to here? Let's see. That's
looks a little shorter on the new one. Looks
a little shorter. It does, doesn't it? But it's really not. It says 3.5 here. That's what that says, right?
Can you do it on the other one again?
And this says 3.5.
That's 3 3/4.
3 3/4. So it is. So what I did was I made the lip a little. I made the lip 1/2 inch. That's what I did. I made the lip a little fatter, which we can do. Let's just make the lip a little fatter.
We can do it. Hey, thank you, Sally, for the donation. Very, very much appreciated.
Okay. Here you go. I'm just going to make the lip a little fatter.
And again, that pencil you're using is a Conte?
Yeah, I like these. The pencil sharpener is made by Conte, and this came from England because I couldn't find one at Conte of Paris. And but what I like about these white charcoal is that they erase and they paint over, so you can just erase them, and you can sharpen them, which is sort of nice. Now, General is another white kind of charcoal pencil you can buy. You can get those on Amazon. They're called General pencils. I think you can get these on Amazon too. I don't know about the sharpeners.
Calling with Alexa is not supported on this device. You can use the Alexa app instead.
You can't use that word.
Can't use that word. Well, the secret A word, because otherwise the devices all start talking, right? All right. So anyway, you can find those, and they're very nice. And I've had one. Gosh, I think probably one pencil would last you a couple years unless you broke it or something. All right. So now we're going to just do the background now that we've got our little pot drawn in. We could have done the whole background first, but I thought to just facilitate the speed of the painting process, we would do our pot. Now I'm looking at my pot I'm looking in the mirror going, do I need, let's see, over here, this side needs to be a little bit more this way. This needs to come out a little bit more. Hold your picture up to a mirror, and then you can see if you're slightly off. Did you know that? Because this side needed to be a little bit wider, and I'm looking at it in a monitor, and I can tell, but a mirror is even better. Just run into the bathroom, hold your picture up in the mirror, and going, oh, there, that's where it's wrong. And if you want to be the last of the big spenders, go to Walmart or someplace and get one of those $10 full-length cheapy mirrors and stick it behind you, and then you can just, you hold the picture up to the mirror like this, and then you turn around in the mirror, and or you
double distance.
You turn around. I don't know. You
figure it out. You go get your mirror. Hey, we'd like to thank Art for the donation that came in, and we had another one come through here, and we had another one come in through PayPal from Rosemarie. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, you guys.
Oh, and Art says, I enjoy the art show Saturdays. Thanks for the opportunity to share.
Well, you know, we can too, and some of you guys come up with a really, I mean, you can't teach a good idea. You can teach technique, but you cannot teach a good idea, invent a good idea. We were just looking, for instance, like, talk about a good idea, right? This frame, which I'm not selling, by the way, I'm just explaining, right? This picture frame that Judy Guitar sent us, right? These just slide. You just twist them and they slide, and that's how you get the picture in. It took about 5 seconds to get the picture in. And do you guys remember? Do you remember when we did this picture right here? This was like kind of like how to use your brush, you know, kind of a brush exercise. We made a pretty flower. Remember that? Yes? That was like a few weeks ago on YouTube, and which was a fun painting, and it was a good brush exercise and just something fun to do, and you could use a lot of imagination. And then I told you we took some string gel and poured it on top, and it took about 2 weeks to dry. Look at the difference. Look how it looks like this picture is now under glass. Is that not cool? And that's called string gel. Liquitex makes that. And I'm going to release a video. We have a video of how I did this, and we're going to release that on our Facebook club for our Facebook club members. So,
right.
You know.
Oh, was that to me?
Yes. Yeah, John's going to release that, and we'll show you how I did it. I got it on a little thick. I don't think you had to put it on quite as thick as I did. So it usually takes about 4 days to dry. It took us about 2 weeks. But look, isn't that just cool? And you can see it really looks like the painting is behind glass. There's a few little bubbles in it, and you sock folders may not like that. But no. You can do something called a two-part epoxy resin, which I could show you sometime. The thing is, then you need a heat gun and you need some stuff, and you have to mix it right, and you have to have measuring cups, and it's the thing. Where this stuff you just sort of dump and spread. I mean, what's easier, right? Dump and spread, or you know, heat guns and all that junk. I think for small paintings it's just fine, don't you? I think that's cool. So I had to show you that because I knew you'd be excited to see that. We said we'd show it to you, right?
We have a question from Deb. Ginger, I have a new unpainted large canvas that I boxed up and brought with me when I moved. I just unpacked it and it is warped. What can I do? How warped? I mean, does the stretcher bars, or are the stretcher bars warped? How large are the canvases? And is the stretcher bars warped? In other words, when I say that, do they curve? Are they is it just twisted? Twisted, curved, or is it bowed? Bowed, because if the stretcher bars are bowed, you're sort of screwed. Sorry. Hey, would like to thank Linda for her donation. You can't do anything about it. Sometimes they come that way from the factory. It's, you know, gosh, you ever think these old people on their channel, you know, going, I always remember how it was. Well, you know, quite frankly, I remember when I was in my 20s that there was such a thing called kiln dried wood that never warped, and you went to the hardware store and you got it, and then we were starting to lose some of that. And we used to take a like a 2x4, and you'd put it. What is that with this 2x4? You know, and you'd hold it like this, and you'd look to see if it was bowed. See how this ruler slightly bowed, and then you'd throw that back in the pile. Now this would be considered a great piece, right? Oh, I found one. And you're going, yeah, like 20 years ago, you wouldn't have touched it, right? So that's yeah. If the stretcher bars, you almost have to restretch it. Then, if it's just the canvas is saggy, you can spray the back with hot water and hit it with a hairdryer and kind of straighten it back up. And sometimes you can take those little, you got to square it away. You can take those little wooden things and smash them in the corners there. There's little slots in the corners. And sometimes you can do something with that. This little burnt sienna, you can do that too. But I've actually seen gallery wrap canvases where the wood actually sagged like a sway back horse, where the bar here, the top of it, was just dipped in like that. And really, all you can do is unstaple it and restaple it on something else, restretch it. But luckily for you, I have a video on YouTube on how to stretch a canvas. So if that were to happen, then you take a pair of pliers and very carefully, and a screwdriver or something, and get something under there and pull out those staples and restretch it. Sounds like a piece of cake. You know, it's a pain, but you can do it. That's one of the nice things to know how to do. And someone says, well, when would you want to normally staple? Why would you buy your own stretcher bars and staple a canvas? If you were doing some really weird size that you couldn't buy, that might be nice.
when I was traveling in Europe, here's some magenta I'm putting out here. When I was traveling in Europe, I had just a limited amount of time in the suitcase. This was my daughter and I. Cinnamon went over there to paint. And I took one set of stretcher bars and I had them apart and I laid them in the suitcase. I think it was like 30 by 40. And I could lay them in the suitcase. And then I cut the canvases and rolled them and just put them in the suitcase. And then, or maybe I had them in a tube, I think. Anyway, then I'd stretch them there, paint on them and unstretch them. And see, I've already used that. Then got them home. And of course I had some smaller ones too, but I don't know. If I would I do it differently now? Yeah, that's the question. Would I do that differently now? Yeah, I probably would. I'd probably just do something smaller and paint it bigger when I got home.
Did you want to use flow paint there?
I'm using flow because I don't have any naphtha crimson.
Oh.
So this is the flow, but it'll work. And I'm
Make a
going to
note of
use
that,
CAD
Bear.
red medium. Yeah, I'm a little short.
Apparently we ran out. Nobody told us.
Well, I think we told you.
Hey, do you put the string gel over varnish or varnish over the string gel?
You put the string gel over varnish and make sure the varnish is dry. You put it over varnish.
You don't varnish on top of the string gel.
No. Well, actually, Daniel says you do. Daniel says he thought you should do that, and that seals it. But I don't know if that wouldn't make it cloudy. Daniel Elliott over there at Jerry's Autorama, you want to ask him, call him up. Jerry's in Houston. He has that answer for you. Seems to me he felt you should do that, and I don't. I have not ever done that, but he thinks you should. So test it on something first. But you sure have to varnish it first, and then if you do a second coat of varnish on top, I'm not sure. I haven't ever felt the need to do it, but then Daniel's like the walking encyclopedia of all this stuff.
What's the color of the background on your canvas today, my dear?
Well, you can do any old color. We just needed a color. This was sort of a seafoam green color, but you could have done green or brown or magenta or red, or it doesn't really matter. You need something on there, though. How's that? Any old color would have worked. Is that great to know? What is this? Ultramarine blue. Okay, we're getting along here with our colors. They're coming along. We're putting our little colors out. You'll all see we're doing that as we're chatting. See what else do we need here? We have white. I'm thinking I did lay all these colors, and I did have a CAD red medium I put out. I know I did. It was in a big tube, and it looked yellow, but it wasn't yellow because it had yellow on it. Where'd it go? CAD red medium.
It's a Conte pencil. How do you spell Conte? C-O-N-T?
C-O-N-T, yeah, C-O-N-T-E, Conte, C-O-N.
What an I in it?
Well, I don't know. Let me look at the, oh, it's on the ruler too. It's on the thing. It's easier to see it. Here, there, Conte. See?
C-O-N-T-E.
Isn't that what I said? Did I stutter? Ah. Did I stutter? CAD red medium. I know I had it. A little light CAD red medium. I swear I had it. It was right here. Oh, here's naphtha scarlet. That's naphtha crimson. I had it right here. Cannot have gone far.
You want to use Liquitex?
I'll use the Liquitex. I had some though. We'll use the Liquitex then. Not to sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff, right? Remember that guy that wrote that book? Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. I don't know. Maybe in his world it was all small stuff. You know, something your foot gets run over. It's not really small anymore, right? Or you. There, got the purple out. All right, we're pretty good here. We got our colors: phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, Dazzling purple, cad yellow medium, yellow oxide, burnt sienna. Oh, burnt umber. I was going to do something about that too, just in case. Yeah, I probably want that too. Here we go, little burnt umber. Kind of running out of room here. Putting it up here.
Is that the red lane on your canvas?
Yeah, there it is.
Sandy saw that for you.
Thank you. Yeah, there it is. Wow. This is Magoo. Strikes again. See, I see this in my mind automatically. You know, have you ever seen that test where they give you they write the word yellow and they put it on a pink card and they say, find the pink card. But the word yellow's on it, so you don't see the pink. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that test? You're one of I'm one of those people. Except I'm backwards. It says red, but it says yellow here, so I'm going for, yeah, okay. Well, let's just open this a little better. This is what happens when you don't put the caps back on. It all goes south on you. Then you have to find little small pokey things and do something like this. Well, someone says, how come your fingers get so dirty so quick painting? Well, because really I'm literally playing in the paint here. And gosh, wouldn't it be nice if this paint came out? I would just be so thrilled if it did.
Where's your ringer at?
I know, I've got a big glob of paint in here that's just stuck. Well, good thing I don't need a lot more than that, isn't it? Now I'm just stuck with the tub of towels to clean the fingers.
Thank you very much, Anna, for the donations. Prayers, John, for a speedy recovery. Hopefully.
Oh, thank you very much. That's really lovely.
Hopefully we can come back live on Sunday. I always have high hopes.
He does, but we don't count on. We'll let you. We'll post it if we. No, I don't think so. Probably Monday. You need to recover. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Now, all right. Let's do this. Okay. So, all right. So now we have paint all under the fingernails. It's so fun, isn't it? It's all over the fingers. I think we've been making mud pies out in the yard. All right. Good. Bye. Tub of towel thingy. There, over there. All right.
Martha and Diane, we also like to thank you for your donations through the PayPal system.
Thank you very much. We think that's lovely. And I've got some big tubes of white. We've got some paint. Now, we're good, right?
Are we ready? Can we start painting now?
We can start.
I mean, we're an hour into the show. Can we at least put some paint on the canvas?
Yeah, but we all know how to draw a pot now, really. I mean, we're not going to do any more of these ovals, right? Promise? No more of these.
I can't wait to see them on YouTube, on Facebook.
Oh, that reminds me when my sister was a kid, and she got braces. Braces were kind of new then. People weren't getting braces. I mean, that was like some of the newest things. Orthodontia, where they were doing braces, was the new treatment for kids. Really, it was a big deal. And my brothers called her Tin Grin.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? Tin Grin and Metal Mouth? But, people were not, but now, of course, now they come in colors and invisible braces and no one sees them, and what a revolution that was. All right, now our brush strokes are going to be going down. Everybody's with me on that? I'm using a fairly wide brush. It's a number 10, but if you didn't have that, you could use a bigger one like this. I'll use this one. This is the one probably most everybody has. This would have been good too. A bright brush of some kind. If you didn't have a bright brush, what else could you use? Well, you could use use one like this. That would work. That would work. Just something kind of wide, flat that you can make work. Okay, so any of those. And these are Bristol-on brushes. I like the Ruby Satin Silvers too. Bristol-on is probably the next model up, a little more expensive. They keep their edge a little longer. Though I've been using Ruby Satin Silvers for years because our art store never carried Bristol-ons. But I like these. And they're all made by the Silver Brush Company. The Ruby Satin Silver brushes are like this, okay? And you see how it's already lost its edge. See that? And I'm sorry. I love these people and their quaint little theories about we'll just put it in boiling water and it'll sharpen back up. Yeah, okay, maybe, okay. But anyway, I still wouldn't throw a brush like that out because it still works. I'm just saying I like this because look at this chiseled edge. And what I can show you the difference. You want to see the difference?
Oh, yeah, let's just dirty up all the brushes.
See?
Oh.
See the difference? Because this one doesn't have the chiseled edge anymore and this one does.
Well, it depends on what you're going to do with it. I mean, if you were just going to do a flat, broad brush, couldn't you
still
use it?
Look, and in all fairness, this is why I never throw anything away. This is why the brush hoarder, anonymous, I'm part of that group, right? Just because you can take a little bit of white paint, a little bit of magenta, a tiny bit of little yellow here, right, like this, and come on down like this, and it paints just fine. And it holds a lot of paint, okay?
Hey, if you don't have nap red, what would I do?
Well, Naphtha Crimson, it's just your regular primary red on your color wheel. You need you need a cad red and some sort of other red, okay? And then magenta is nice too. And if you didn't have that, then we'll just deal with the other two. I mean, geraniums come in, they come in white, they come in pink, they come in red. So if your geraniums are a different color than mine, it was a different flower at the store, right? All right, so see what I'm doing that? Now what I want to do is put a tiny bit of, little tiny bit of burnt sienna with this. Now watch what happens when we just sort of tone that color down. Now I'm going to wet the brush and wipe it off so it's damp, okay? Now we're going to come back in here and get a little bit of white, a little bit of burnt sienna, a little tiny bit of magenta, maybe a tiny bit of naphtha crimson, like that. Don't mix it very well. The secret to this is you want it all to be sort of different colors as you come down here.
You want it streaky.
You want it streaky. So the trick is to just sort of barely overlap each brush stroke. When you come down to here, just sort of do that. And then this brush has a good enough edge to do that, okay? You'll see how all the brush strokes are going down. Now, a little bit, each time I do it, I get a little bit more paint, maybe a little tiny bit of yellow oxide, and add it to that, a little bit more, a little bit of yellow oxide in this. There's different colors in this, a little bit of magenta, down it goes, a little bit of burnt sienna. You can kind of overlap and keep going. One thing I do that people don't think about it is, this is really important, so really tune in on this, right? Is if you come down like this and stop, you get a mark. Do you see that? If you come down like this and lift up like an airplane taking off on a runway, then you get a nice light streak. Opposed to this mark, this lift up. Make sense?
Rebecca would like to know, does it work to have a background color? Or basically she's asking maybe about the underpainting?
You need an underpainting.
And the purpose
it allows for the, just, if you're, it allows for the paint to bond. And if some of this blue background shows through, that's sort of pretty. You see that? This blue-green background or whatever you have, it's a nice touch. All right, so now we're going to keep going here. Now as we come down here around our pot, now we're going to be less streaky and more using the side of our brush, this is a good brush for that. Just come up here like this and using the side of it, blend this out. Okay.
That's probably why that brush got to be in that condition.
Yeah, well, this is, I'm a little hard on the brushes too. They're going to say, yeah, Ginger, our brushes are just fine till you got a hold of them. And what can you say with that, right? Nothing. Okay, a little bit more of this color, just coming down here like this. And then as we come under the pot, we'll paint it like this. And I need a little bit more color here. It's really kind of a flesh tone color, isn't it? Here. See that?
Yeah. Look at that. I can even see it on your hand.
See, it's sort of a flesh color, so it's good. What? I don't know how to do people colors. Well, you just learned one, right? But the thing is, you want it streaky. So let's come back here with the magenta and the burnt sienna, and I'm going to just spray this with a little bit of water, like that. Now I'm going to wipe it off, and just barely touch this. I'm going to come down and streak this again a little bit more. Just come down here in a couple places and just streak this. See, I want a few more streaks on it, like that. And then back behind all of this, there's some nice, he had some nice kind of yellow oxide streaks. Let me just get some of that with a little bit of cad red, maybe just a little bit of kind of an orange, almost an orange red yellow color. Now I'm going to do this with right in here where the flowers are going. It's a little bit of yellow oxide, tiny little bit of cad red medium. He had some of this color going. Then we'll put some of this pink back. Okay.
Hey, we'd like to thank Stephanie and Diane for their donations through the PayPal system.
Oh, thank you guys. This is so nice, you guys. This is awesome. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so you're good with me, right? We're sort of like going to come down here like this. I've rinsed the brush, okay? Now he's got it darker by here. Now if your brush is damp, you'll erase. So you have to be careful. You either have to dry. Here's some, let me just move that. A little bit of Dazzling purple, okay? A little bit of magenta. Now I'm going to wipe it all off the brush like that. I'm going to come next to the side of this pot here, and I'm just going to tap in a little of this. If I tap it in and kind of fuzz out the edge, so it's like smoke, I want a little bit darker next to here, a little bit darker over here, and maybe a little shadow under my pot over here. Now, here's the thing. This brush is a little big to create that shadow, so you may want to go to a smaller brush. And the idea is to dissipate, you like that? Have it kind of disappear where it just goes out into nothing. So in other words, you don't want it to look like a piece of wood sticking out here. Shadows have a tendency, the edges are very out of focus. And one way to do that is while everything's still wet, and kind of create that. And we can come back and add a little more of that as we paint. But that is our, maybe I'll put some of this color up here too. That's kind of nice, coming down here like that. And I'll dampen the brush to do that. And then just sort of smooth that out with a damp brush. If you're getting streaks and it's not working, start with a damp brush like this, okay? You can do something like this and lift up if you feel like you don't have enough streaks. And if you're worried about your paint erasing, what you need to do then, this is like our second coat, what you need to do then is dry it. I put this on thin enough where it's almost dry. But if it wasn't dry, that's what you'd do. But anyway, that's the idea. So some sort of pretty background like this, okay? That's good, right? And just.
What's your thought on taking hair clippers to an old brush?
Well, I've seen that done. You know, they put the hair clip on and they do it. In fact, you can buy fancy clips and thing. You know, it's a memory thing. It's I don't know. It's like curling a wig. You know, I guess it depends on the fiber of the brush. You know, some wigs, you know, you could curl, and others you can't. You know, they're curled at the factory kind of thing. It's all brush to brush. Okay, so that's our background. Now, while that's drying, these big brushes are going away. We're going to get out our small angle brush, 3/8 inch ruby satin silver angle brush, and let's just paint our pot in here, okay? So I'm going to take a little bit of burnt sienna, and I'm going to come in here like that. I probably will have to bring my background in a little bit more, like that, and just going to go ahead and start. I'll just paint it, a little bit of burnt sienna. Just get something on here. Yeah, I got too much paint. Well, I'm moving it around. See, I'm scooping it up, moving it. It's like if you put too much butter on bread, you can just scoop it up and move it, right? You don't panic. You just
We
sort of
certainly don't put it back, that's for sure. That's butter.
I don't put it back. No, I don't put it back, right? I don't put it back in the pot, right? And then you can kind of roll it off your brush if you've got too much. If you need to scoop some up, just roll it off like that. So, you know, it's all good. All right, so I'm going to bring this down like this.
A couple of people have noticed the comment that Cinnamon wrote. You'd like to know if you have any words of wisdom that you'd like to share from that comment she made in the Facebook
Well, yeah,
post.
you know, if you guys didn't see it, my daughter, unbeknownst to me, she surprised me with this yesterday. She said, I wrote you something really nice on Facebook. Think you'd like to see it. I'm going, oh, okay. I'll get to it in a minute. No, I want you to look at it now. Okay, I'm looking at it. You know, I'll call you back. And I was astounded to see this wonderful note she'd written about, you know, having me as a parent and how I was as a mom to her. And I was very touched, moved to tears. I thought it was just a beautiful thing that she said. And I'll have to tell you that I did, well, I wasn't expecting it. Certainly wasn't Mother's Day or anything. I wasn't expecting any of that. And I thought it was a really, really nice thing to say. I mean, she talked about how I had helped her as an artist. And if you guys don't know it, those of you who are not familiar with it, Cinnamon is my daughter. She's known as the Art Sherpa. And you'll take a little bit of burnt umber and put it in here now. And Cinnamon's, you know, teaching, you know, a lot. She teaches mainly, you know, beginning painting on YouTube, and that's her thrust. She and John, her husband, are doing that for about 5 years. Extremely gifted, and it's a wonderful show. She does a great job, and she was talking about how much she appreciated that because, you know, when I was an artist, and I've always been an artist since, you know, I mean, that's been my whole deal is art, okay? And I'm just thinking my pot's out of focus, out of balance here. As I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about two things, but maybe I can do this here. Okay, and when she was young, when we were kids, you know, she was a little kid, you know, she grew up with her mom as an artist. And there's one little thing in that what she talks about. I had this painting that I had done of these zebras, and there was this old kind of tree that you might see in Africa, and it stretched out over the whole. It was a big, long painting. And I told her she was in the painting, and she was behind the tree, but she was in the painting. Of course, she wasn't in the painting at all, but she was like 3, and it seemed like a good thing to tell her. Because, kids like to be in your pictures. And I had done a bunch of pictures of her, all kinds of crazy pictures of her. I had funny little paintings of her sitting in wet paint on park benches. Park benches have always been my thing, and eating ice cream. And I used to make all her clothes. And I mean, it was really, it was really kind of cool. So anyway, she said that she would stare at that tree, and she said she learned to paint trees staring for years at the tree, trying to figure out where she was in the painting. Just, well, that's what I told her. Her dad told her that there was rats in Wonder Bread. That's what her dad told her, So, I mean, my lie was pretty good, right? Her dad saw, and she went to school that you shouldn't eat that. There's rats in the bread. And then we got a call from the teacher saying, what are you telling this child? So, but then she told Honey that she was a zombie once, that her parents, one time they were having fun with Honey, and they told her, that's her daughter, that they were all zombies. I don't get it, so I don't think saying that she was in the tree was that mean. Anyway, okay, we're good here? I got to dry this. Can I do this? And anyway,
we can answer a question. Hold on a second. Miss Peabody, what determines the color of your shadow? I've seen blue, brown, and purple.
Well, you could have done a brown shadow. You need
Artist
a shadow.
choice.
There's a lot that goes into determining a shadow of whether you're a colorist or if you're a colorist or a tonalist. That's a whole nother subject. If you go outside, a lot of times you'll see, shadows are usually in the blues, usually in the blue tones outside. You get a little bit of reflection from the sky. Inside, they can reflect something else. I did a little bit of a purple shadow. Took a little artistic license. Could have been a brown shadow, but it kind of went nicely with the thing. And I think he did too, by the way. I'm not sure, but I can't remember. I don't have his picture sitting right in front of me. Now, see, I'm slightly off on this. Do you see that? You see, I'm slightly off on the top of this. But am I worried? No, because this is all going to get covered up with plant right here, so I don't have to fix it. Otherwise, I would fix. Well, should I fix it just so you see it? I understand I'm slightly off right there. Okay.
But not to panic.
Don't
Hey, we'd
panic.
like to thank the Lady Fair for their donation through the PayPal system. Greatly appreciate that.
Okay, I was slightly off on that. Okay, so we're kind of looking down on this pot. All right, yes, thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. So John's going to kind of entertain you for a second, and I'm going to dry this. All right? You
Oh,
guys
I get
good
to
with that?
sing.
No, you don't get to sing, John.
You
but
said I get to entertain.
yeah.
Me and the bear will sing.
I'm going
Ready?
to.
Me. Okay, everybody. If you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, you want to do it now because we're filling up fast. We are down to under 150 to go, and it'll be closed to the general public. Then the only way to become a member of the Facebook group will be through joining the Art Academy. Can you hear me talking here? Hello? Hey, is this thing on? Yeah, it's on, Sammy. So there you are. The Facebook group is coming close to filling up. Why do you have a brown streak running down?
Because it wasn't, because there was water on the brush, and I dried it in there then, because the hairdryer just blew that
Are we
off.
worried about that?
No.
No.
No, why aren't we worried about it? Well, because it paints right out, doesn't it?
Looks like it's
Look at that.
gone.
It paints right out. It's just
Disappearing.
gone. It's gone.
Nice singing there, Sammy.
Yeah, well, that's what your hairdryer does. I had a little bit of water on that brush, and it just blew it around, right? All right, so now, here's the deal, you guys. More deals.
More deals. Now would you lose?
I didn't lose anything. Ha, who, me? All right, back to the drawing board. Back to the chalkboard. Oh, we had some water on that, too. We've been just dripping water everywhere, haven't we? Okay, now.
I worked so
All right,
hard to clean that.
these leaves on these geraniums, okay? They're they're ruffled. That's the word. They're ruffled. So they're not just a shape like this, okay? There are leaves in the world that look like that, True, yes. But they are more they're more ruffly, okay?
They're geraniums.
They're geraniums, so they're ruffly, and maybe one's going up here like this you don't see with this one, and we're not having to do too many perfect ones, but they're kind of roughly. So if you can keep in mind the roughly and keep in mind the direction that they're going, in the sense that that'll help. But anyway, just they're roughly. Okay. Now, as long as we're talking about that, now the stems are, when you're talking about stems, they're not just straight up. Okay, stems. Now the plants themselves, as long as we're just talking about this, let's get it down. So because I know I'll get excited and forget to tell you, because I'll get into that part. Now we've got a flower coming up here. So here's the deal. They are put together in layers, like almost one brush stroke, like this. Okay, overlapping. So, see, they're overlapping. And the general shape is, so what they are not is this. Okay? They're not that. They've got this sort of overlapping bumpy shape that happens the way you did your little individual layered brush strokes. Does that make sense? So you're going to put this on with one brush stroke at a time, kind of like this, and that's how you're going to just lift up your brush. You're going to be doing stuff like that. Okay? So you're going, oh, new brush stroke. Good to know. Yes. So what I want to say is that my top leaf from the pot is about 3 inches tall up here. Like that's about as high as I'm going with those, okay? So I've got, and then my flower is going to come up kind of this way. So I'm going to have a flower here, and I'm going to have one here. And then, so I'm going to start here, right about here with the pot. Well, we have to do the pot. We have to finish the pot. We dried it, but I guess we could draw the leaf in here. Right here at this edge of the pot, we've got a leaf that's kind of heart-shaped, and you can ruffle it later, but that's going to go here. I'm going to have something in here, kind of a dark one, kind of a sideways one here that you're barely going to see. We've got another kind of odd-shaped one up here, and then we've got something up here, and we've got kind of a heart-shaped one over here, and we got something over here. So as we fill in, as we start doing more to that, that's where these are going. In the meantime, let's get our brush out, which we put where?
Hey, we'd like to thank Eric for their donation, and also Evie and Cindy through the PayPal system.
Thank you very much, you guys. That's awesome. Thank you. So, really nice, and appreciate that. And all right, so we've got a little bit of a peach here with a little bit of yellow, magenta and peach, right? And I want to just come next to this pot here and kind of use my, you can keep shaping your pot, by the way, as you go. You can, if you know how you made that kind of interesting background color, you can always add more to the, if you need to come in and reshape a pot or put a shadow back or something, you can do it. All right, now let's start with a light color, kind of light beige color, a little bit maybe, but these kind of colors here that we did. Now we know that the light's coming from this side, so we're going to come this way, and we're just over the dark brown. We're kind of just going to do this at an angle, like that. Let some of the brown show through, okay? Come down here like this, and there's not a lot of paint on your brush. The trick with this dry brushing trick is not a lot of paint. Now, see on this ridge right here, there is a little paint. We're leaving like a little bit of dark brown. See this little dark brown edge? And we're going to say that this part here, right here, there's not a lot of paint on here. We're just going to dry brush along here like that. See, already we've done something with this pot. Now let's take a little bit of burnt sienna and cad red medium, and let's do a little bit of red on here. Barely touch it, kind of at a diagonal. Kind of overlap this so that you see how this is sort of blending together. And we'll do that over on this side too. Okay, like this. Okay, we're still kind of working on that. Okay. Now the pot's really coming, or we haven't had to do much. Now let's take a little of this purple color, magenta purple color, come down underneath this, barely touching it now. Okay, and I'm going to just do another little bit of color right in here like that. When I run out of paint, I'll come down here like this, make this a little darker. Okay. And then I'm going to get a little bit of magenta and purple, a little bit more, maybe even a little red. Yeah, let's make that a little red. And just come down here on this edge and add a little bit darker color of red. Then wipe the brush, pinch off most of the paint, and blend that in. Let's do that on this side too, on the edge of this lip. Okay. And this is kind of how, this is exactly how, not even kind of how, let's put a little bit of red under here. This is how we're putting shading on the pot. Then I'm going to pinching the brush to kind of wipe it off. Now, a little bit of yellow oxide, barely touch it. Put the paint on the brush, wipe off the excess. Barely touch it. There's a little bit of this yellow oxide color here, down in here. This is a really pretty paint. People think this is such a simple painting. It is. But remember, you're just sort of blending this in. And it's not, some of you I know are going to say, I don't understand why this didn't work for me. I have globs of paint. Do we have an extra little thing here, a little practice thing? Do you have any practice? Do you have any of these little 6x8 sheets, John, that have got paint on them?
I have 6x8 sheets. Of course I do, my dear.
All right, so I'm going to show you on a 6x8 sheet what not to do.
You might want to get that one for today.
Yeah, okay, so which one? Well, all right, this is some, you've got some great ones. He hates me to use them now because they're all so pretty. Well, this is a banged up one. I can use this one, right? I've been playing with it. All right, so here's what you don't want to do. Here's your pot like this, right? So here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to do this, and then some of this, and then some of this, and say it didn't work. Because, see, that's too much paint, all right? You know, and this, I just got one color, none of it worked, okay? Don't do that. This is subtle stuff here. You're just talking about a little bit of color on your brush, and you can come back when it dries even and layer a little bit more. I've got a little bit of even a little bit of red here. I'm going to do a little more of this light color right here, and maybe even lighten it up a bit more now, right in here, like this, barely touch it. And a little bit lighter here, right here on the edge. It's a little bit lighter than I want, so I'll just darken that just a hair. Okay. And I think I'll take a little bit of brown and just do a little. Ooh, see, now if you get a glob of paint, this is why we wipe it. So you just come along here like this. Okay. Make sure this is curved, that's curved. And let's try a little more of that purple, maybe a little bit of brown with it. I want a little bit, something a little bit darker right up in here. Barely touch it. Just a little bit of a dark shadow in here like this. Something dark right here. A little bit of red coming around the side of our pot. Like that, okay? So, now the rest of this is going to be sort of hidden by the leaf, so we don't have to talk about it. And I want to address that from Becky. She was writing today, Becky Simonson, she was writing that that I often say I don't want to talk about stuff, and she's a sockfold, and she finds little voices saying, hello, would you like to talk about us? Hello. Well, you know, how much time you got in the world? You can, Becky, you can certainly spend hours and hours talking about things, and no one says you shouldn't. It's just that sometimes if you need to get through the day and finish a painting, you can just have some things that you don't have to address as thoroughly. How's that? Does that make sense? Wow, we just dropped the paint brush on the floor. Hang on.
Hey, we would like to thank Michael and Wayne for their donations. Greatly appreciate that through the PayPal system. That will go to a good cause.
Now look how cool this is as far as how we've got this beautiful pot. And I think I made mine a little fatter than this one. I don't think it really matters, do you? But, you know, we've got a nice pot here, okay? Now we know what we're going to have is a little light ledge.
We know what we know.
What? What are you talking about?
I'm trying to understand that sentence you just said.
I don't understand it myself, so how could I explain it to you?
I'm just trying to follow along here, that's all. You're giving these great words of wisdom, and I hate to miss anything. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, as it were.
Well, I don't have to tell you, John, just hang in there with me, you know.
I'm going to have to do a replay on this one.
Okay, fine. All right. Now, see this color shirt I've got on, this sort of golf course green shirt? We're not doing that. But the reason we use two blues, phthalo blue green shade, gives us these beautiful turquoisey colors. All right, let's let's have a show and tell here.
Oh, here
We
go
get
again.
these beautiful turquoisey colors. You know, this is like a kind of a light blue, turquoisey
Wait,
blue.
okay, where are you holding them?
Here.
Slide them up there a little bit, will you?
Here, like this, right? And so like for instance, this is like your golf course green. You don't want to use that. If this is a little bit bright, it's more on the lime side. That you have to put some red in that color in order to tone it down. So one of the things you can do is burnt sienna has a good has red in it. So if we took some phthalo blue, let's just play with that for a minute in yellow. We're going to get a nice bright kind of golf coursey green, right? A little bit more yellow to it, right? Now add a little bit of burnt sienna to it, and look how that tones it down. So if you only had one color, blue, you could get away a long time with just owning phthalo blue and not ultramarine blue, because you can always tone down that green. You cannot make a turquoise green if your life depended on it with ultramarine blue. Just can't do it. So
now, wait. Look at your brush. The big red dot.
Oh yeah. Okay. Thanks. Here. All right. Better. Now come along here. Start in the middle. Come along here. And I've got the angled brush. Now we're going to say this is our first one. Now look how I'm ruffling the edges, like the potato chip. Okay.
Ruffles have ridges.
Ruffles has ridges. Right. And I'm all right. See that? See, I'm just kind of pointing ignore the chalk now. Chalk will wipe off when this is all dry. So just have fun with that. There. All right. There's leaf number one. The other thing too is that this came up. I want to say hi to my friend Andrew in Haiti, and he was doing some trees, and on a painting came out finally. I think he painted them like 3 or 4 times. The trees finally came out. But I'm going to suggest when you're painting something like trees, and you're like in my case, he was just sort of doing the way I did trees, but it didn't make any sense to him at all because that's not how he paints, and that's okay. A lot of different ways to paint trees. So my suggestion is find some photos of trees that look similar to what you're trying to do in the painting, because we always talk about pine trees and certain trees, but there's thousands of different kinds of trees, and how the leaves are, so that you can get, because all you're doing is getting patterns in your mind. There's no reason to stress over anything. Sorry, here's some other little ruffly things coming up here in this one. A little edgy thing here like that. And I think there's another little leaf underneath it, which we will explain here. That's what this is. And let's come over here and do this one. I'm going to say here's another little heart-shaped leaf. Kind of, it's all at a diagonal facing this way. It was interesting. Little geranium plant. I like geraniums. They're very hardy. They're good in cold climates.
As everybody seems to be having.
Oh, and gosh, it got so cold the other day. I mean, we had the air conditioning on, and it was in its 70s, and then they said, oh, we're having a storm, and man, we had the storm of all storms, and then the temperature dropped, and
we turned the heater back on.
Turn the heater back on, which is, I'm not complaining. I'm just glad I have a heater. All right, now I want those are the only ones I want that color.
Now, Patricia's asking, my brain froze. What did Ginger mix with the phthalo blue?
A little bit of yellow and burnt sienna.
Yellow and burnt sienna.
But you could have used yellow and cad red medium. You could use yellow and a little purple.
You just need a little red.
You need a red. If you put red in green, it tones it down. And why is that? Because, why is that?
I know why.
Because I know you do, but we're going to let them think about it. Because here's the thing.
Let them suffer.
You can tone down any color by looking at your color wheel. It's
over to your right.
Opposite the side, opposite the color wheel here is red. And so if you add a tiny bit of red to green, like less than 1%, 1 to 2%, you'll tone it down. If you add too much, you get mud. Remember we called it dead frog green?
Yes, we love that color.
Yeah, dead frog green. All right. So now we want more of the blue green. So we're going to add more phthalo, right? And a little bit of white to this. Now I want this more of the sort of phthalo blue-green color. I'll still add maybe a bit of magenta to that, which will give me more of the, still give me a little bit more of the blue-green color. See that? It's graded, but it's more blue-green. And I want to come over here like this. And I have this back leaf. I want more of a gray, kind of a blue-green color. And I think I've got another one over here. And I did something up here too. I've forgotten what, but we're going to put it. Some sort of little blue shape up here. And then we've got, while I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to go straight into the yellow on my brush. And I'm going to come up this way next to that chalk line. I'm not going to go over the chalk. up this way. I'm going to say there's my where my two flowers are, because I know that I've got another little color, and see that yellow is just perfect. Another little kind of a yellowy green thing here. And maybe up here, I think there was this, and then there was something up here that did this. Now, all right, so you're going, what? And I know. So now let's play with these colors a little bit. Here's this blue-green color again. Where else could I put it? Nowhere. All right, I'm going to rinse my brush. This is the trick. All the paint's coming off the brush now. And we want a dark color. So let's take yellow, ultramarine blue, and a little purple. And let's make a little more ultramarine blue. Let's make this dark, dark blue-green color. Now we're going to come up here like this, add a few little dashes of that underneath our leaves here, and this little space in here. Maybe a little space under here, a little bit of dark, like that. It was dark under here too. A little bit more of the purple with it. We had a little bit of a dark area right here. He had this dark area next to where I think there were more leaves, so we're just tapping a bit of dark. Normally I would have put the dark first, but I wasn't sure where we were going to put it. I'm going to just kind of give myself a little more room here to just level out my pot. Okay, so now I can't do much with those. Rinsing the brush again, reshaping it, and then coming up here on the top of this with a little bit of yellow when it's still wet, saying that there's our yellow. There's our stem. Now, all right, so okay, I've got a little yellow on this brush, and let's take a little yellow oxide on the side of the brush. Now, I'm going to come along here like this and bend it. And while this is still wet, I'm going to just do this kind of feathery outline. This is kind of tricky because you take the brush like this, paint only on one side, and we're bending it. And you're dropping off the paint into the ridges, and it's then pulling it back a little bit like that. Saying there's a little leaf. Let's do this again. Up here, we're going to just take it here and kind of bend it. Just sort of shove some of this lighter color on the edge. And you don't have to do exactly like mine, but what you're going for is a little bit more of the yellow, is this sort of lighter edge on the leaves. And see how I'm sort of bending it, dropping off the paint. So how does that work? All right, this is interesting. Here, how does that work? Okay, so here's the thing. If you have color just on one side, you can do this, right? But if you do this, what you do is you drop an edge. Okay, so you grab a little glob of paint like this, and you can drop an edge where you're just dropping a little tiny bit of paint. It takes some practice. You'll see us do this doing waves in water, where we'll just do a little bit of a white tide like that. So you're just sort of dropping clouds. Sometimes we can do that. So you're just sort of dropping the edge and then bringing it back. Okay, so that's sort of how you do it. Good. If you didn't learn something new in every one of these lessons, wouldn't you get awfully sick of painting these flowers? But we try to teach you some new stuff every time we do it. Okay, so I'm going to come up here, and now just using the corner, I'm just going to tap in something a little bit lighter right here. And the same thing on this one. I'm going to come up this way with a little bit of just little sweep of brush strokes and do that. Okay, and how about over here? All right, I think that's all we're doing on those. All right, let's take a little white on our brush now, and a little bit of this blue color, and a little bit of white. Now I've got this light green color. Now up here, now look, see, it's blue-green. And I'm not going to screw around with my edge. I'm going to stay back from that and brush this in while it's still wet. And this side, I'm going to say that there's a little bit of this color, this blue-green color. I'll get it. Where else can I put it? Over here. I'm going to say that there's a little bit of a lighter blue-green leaf right here over that shadow color. And I'll reload the brush. Where else could it be? Up here. See if it's wet enough. If it's too wet, it won't we can't make it work, but I think that may be too wet. Can we make this one work? No. How about this one? Yeah, this one maybe with just a little white. Just drop a little white leaf like that. Just kind of squish the brush around. See? Isn't that cool? I mean, you got to admit that's kind of neat. Yeah. Any questions, John?
You know, there was. I bet I can't find it now.
See, I'm doing the same thing with the white under the brown. And just coming up here and just sort of pushing and squishing and like that. Okay. And
I think we got them all.
all right, good. Now
Remember
I'm
to put your questions in caps so I can scroll back up and find them if I missed you.
all right, I'm going to get a little purple and phthalo blue now, and I want something a little darker here in a couple places. Didn't get quite dark enough. And then see, I think I need a little bit of dark under here too, like that. And how about under here? Yeah, we're good there. Good there. Okay. A little bit of contrast. And I'm just going to turn my picture upside down for a minute. I want to look at it upside down. That's another trick too. You guys do that every once in a while? Just kind of look at it upside down and just want to kind of level the pot out a bit. Okay, that looks better. All right, now what else? Well, I'm rinsing the brush, right? Now I want to go into what if red and green are complements, they look nice together, but also you have to be careful when you put them that you don't get them wet on wet, because what happens is we talk about that they all get muddy. So let's just leave these alone for a while, okay? I think that would be a good start. Just leave this alone for a while. Let's take a little bit of our brush here, a little bit of magenta and purple, and let's just come back here next to our pot here, and we're going to just fade out our background a bit more, and maybe take a little bit of cad red with that. Yeah, I'm going to wipe the brush, and again I want a little bit more shadow area on this side of the background. Okay. Now what happens is you're going to come back and add something. Then you've got, this is why it's nice to have a multicolored background like this, because now you're talking about sort of blending this all back out again, and so that it's all sort of phases out. But I want it a little bit darker back here around the pot, and I can see where I might want it a little bit oranger right up in here too. So I'm going to just add a little bit of this orange color before I put my flowers, kind of a gold red color up in here like this. Probably more, let's take a little bit of yellow and cad red medium. Okay.
Dee's asking, when you say you drop the edge, are you meaning just one end of the brush?
No, I'm not. So I'll do it again. I know this is a sort of I'm going to just get us another little thing. I'll show you. Let me just get this in here like that. A little bit of this yellow gold color in the background here. See, I'm just kind of very gently brushing this out, barely touching it, just sort of fuzzing that in. See, like that. Isn't that pretty? And you guys, it's great, isn't it? Love this. Love this guy's painting. Put a little bit more gold on the pot. Again, this is going to dry brush this in again, like that. And what can be, he didn't do it so much, but what can be very pretty on a pot, if you're doing pots, is sometimes moss will grow on a pot. Did you know that? Sometimes you'll get like a green, this is gingerizing this now. Sometimes what you'll get is a little bit of green on a pot where the moss kind of grew on it, like that. You can put something like that on it, and then you come back over it with a little gold. Push it back so it's just barely there. The little touch, I think sometimes a little touch of green can be pretty. I mean, personally, I like it. And then you come back here with a little bit of orange, like that. Flower pots are some of my favorite things. Look at that. Isn't that neat? All right. Yes, it was. All right. Now I'm going to show you that trick, because this is really a good brush stroke to learn. Okay. I'm going to move this, right? Everybody's good with that? Move this. Okay, here we go.
You're going to do that because we have a bunch of other questions.
Yeah, I'm doing that. All right, so now let's just pretend, for instance.
Oh, my great background.
I'm sorry. Let's just pretend that this is some water. It's a wave, and this is a wave coming in here, the shore, right? Okay, like that. You with me? We're gonna pretend that this is our beach, and there's some wave, and it gets darker back here, and right like that. Then we got a wave coming in to shore like this. Okay. Okay. You've got to use your imagination. All right. Now, what I would do is I would take the white on just one side of the brush like this. Okay. And I'd come it along here, and I'd bend it toward me. It's on this edge, and I'd bend it toward me, and I'd shake it. Then
So
get a
just
little
that
more.
one side.
So just on one side, and as I'm bending it toward me, it's actually dropping like almost a little ledge of paint, just kind of just on the edge of it like this. I'm just bending it toward me, and then what you do is you bring this back like that behind, underneath it, and you've got this little ridge of paint. See? And then this comes back like that. See? And that's your sort of, that's your sort of shoreline. See? Under here like that. You got to imagine sand, okay?
Orange sand.
But just, you know what I mean? And then you can do the same thing on a wave. You can say that you've got a wave coming over like this, but you can also bend it down here like this and then just pull it over. Cool, right? And then the other thing is it's always darker under the wave. Did you guys know that? It's darker. When the wave goes up, it's always darker. And then you've got to smooth out your brush strokes. You've got to have them kind of curve on.
Got to match the wave.
They've got to match the thing of the wave like that. Okay.
The flow of the wave.
So then I'd come up here on the top of this, maybe this wave here, and I would just, bring it up. I love it when you can just sort of bend it. You just sort of bend the paint down, and then behind it there would be another wave, which would then be the next. Obviously it's just going to be this wave. There'd be something behind it, and then I'd kind of smooth it out and say there's something behind this wave, like that. See? Oh, all right. So anyway, that's how you do that, and it's kind of the same way we did this. With a lot of different ways you can do this, but that's kind of how we did this one. Okay, so here, let's put my little light edge back on my pot. See, I love an angle brush. Do you realize how thin that is? How beautifully thin you can get it, like a little angle. I mean, I just love the brushes like this. All right, so I want to do the flowers next, and while this is kind of drying, so what we're going to do is we've got these three reds. We've got magenta. We've got naphtha crimson and cad red medium. So we're going to start with magenta, and we're going to just kind of get it on. Let's get it on. I'm right-handed, so I'm getting it on this side of the brush. Okay. Now I'm going to just start. Let's put a little bit purple with it too. I want a little bit darker. This is my darker section in here, like this. Okay, and the same thing over here. I'm just going to add a darker core and let that dry. Good. Now, while that's drying, and you're going, yeah, that's what you did? Yeah, while that's drying, rinse the brush, and we'll come back here and we'll play with this leaf. So we want a little yellow on this leaf in here like this. Just tap on a little yellow. And
Heather would like to know, when do you use a glazing medium for flowers?
Well, let's talk about what is a glazing medium. It's funny, I was giving a private lesson last week, and we had this discussion. I've been painting with this lady for almost 3 years, and I can't believe we're still having questions about what glazing is. So it's okay if you don't know, because obviously I've not explained it well, or everyone would know. So back to this glazing. I'll let this dry anyway, right? Back to this glazing. You can only glaze over something that's lighter than itself, okay? So you can't glaze over something dark like this, all right? Well, you can, but you're not going to change it much. So for instance, if I use some water, and think about it as a tea stain, and it's not paint, it's just mainly I glaze over something like this, it's really not going to affect it that much. But if I did the same thing over this white, you see what it did? See how it's very, very translucent. Now you can only glaze. Glazing, there's no white in the paint. So for instance, here's some phthalo blue. Usually transparent paint is better. Phthalo blue, let's just See? See how it gives it almost, it's almost like putting a stained glass over something. See that? See how beautifully translucent that is? So if I were to take that color and this white dry, no, this white's not dry, or I'd show you. You can't dry, it has to be dry, okay? So, you know, you can glaze with purple, and you can glaze, and it's thin. You can use glazing medium if the water gets too thin. What happens is you can glaze with purple, and it really looks like you're looking through stained glass. It's like a tea stain, and here's some of the purple over the green. See, it kind of just spoiled it because it wasn't dry. So that's what glazing is. So if you're saying, when would you glaze over a flower? Maybe you did a white highlight on a flower and it was a little too bright, and you might just take the same flower color and glaze over the tip of that and then just tone that back. That's probably when you would use it. We've got these flowers here. Should we fool with this one? This we did last week. So suppose I wanted to glaze over that flower, all right? So it's a white flower, and suppose I wanted it purple. So I take a little bit of, not purple paint, just a little bit of purple and water, and barely touch it. Now look how soft that flower is compared to these. Do you see?
You pushed it back.
That's called pushing it back, right? So if you didn't want to talk about that flower, that's how you do it. And if you don't like it, you can wipe it right off. You got to do that over something dry, okay? Like, or for instance, maybe the edge of this vase, you wanted to just you wanted it lighter, but you didn't want it white. So you would just, I could glaze over my name. Oh, I forgot the stripe in there. Let's put that there. Anyway, that's when you use glazing. And if you get too thin, I prefer like the satin glazing medium. You don't need a giant jug like this. I think we got this on sale at Michael's for some ridiculously cheap price. Otherwise, I would have just said get something this size, because that'll last you like your life or something. Anyway, that's you could get it really, really thin if you use glazing medium, because that's a polymer, and if you use too much water, it won't bind to the other paint. That's why you use glazing medium. Good answer to the question, right?
Great answer to the question.
This is dry enough, probably where I'm okay. All right, so now I'm going to start with my reds. I'm going to start with a little bit of red here, just on one side. And I'm going to come up here and just do this. And I'm going to drop some paint and curve it and lift up. Drop some paint and curve it and lift up. Drop some paint. I'm going to go back and get some more paint. I think I'll get a little cad red medium now. And then I'm going to come around here and just sort of twist it. Get new paint each time I do it. Okay, and I'm going to just say that I'm going to twist something up here like that. I'm going to grab some yellow now, scoop up some of this yellow on my brush. I'm going to come back over here and touch this while it's still wet. Touch that, scoop up some yellow, touch this, touch that.
I would like to know, can you explain the difference between a glaze and a wash?
Glaze and a wash. Well, wash is something that people do in watercolor more. Glaze is
probably the same end result.
The same end result. They do it more in watercolor. Okay. Okay. Gonna just cad red medium now. See how I'm just twisting the brush? I might come up with a little, look at the amount of paint I've got on there. Barely touch it a little bit. Look at that. And you're going to get different results each time. It will look exactly the same, but maybe I want a little bit redder over here. Okay, and then you can't keep playing with it. Once you do it, you got to just stop and say that's it. You know what I mean? If it dries, you can change the color, but at this point, this is pretty thick red paint. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. I think we're going to just start with a little bit of, naphtha crimson over here. Just sort of a push and twist with the brush. And it's just twisted brush strokes. And let's see, a little bit of yellow and orange. Here we go. Here's our next bright color. Kind of making it brighter on this side. Maybe just red on this side, the second coat. And I want the paint fairly thick. This is the trick. I want this really thick. If you're using student grade paints, you won't get that effect. I think I want this flower a little bigger up here too, okay? And I want it a little bit darker. Here's a little dark magenta under here, like that. And then I might come back with a little bit of purple and barely touch it and add a little bit of dark. But you're better off to wait till it's dry before you touch it. If I came up here like that, add a little dark, you can mess this up really quick till it dries, all right? See how we did that? Put those flowers on. Now that's, I think I'm going to redo my stem. I have it drawn in here, but I don't like where I have it. So you like that? And it's dry enough where I'm just going to paint the stem out and do it again. I want this darker yellow, kind of a gold magenta color, I guess. There we go. I want this more of this color. Darker. There we go. Then I will put my stem in a little bit more. And I think I've got a little bit more. I'm looking at this. I'm going to bring some darker purple up here. Just like that. Just a few little bits of color. And I think I had a little bit of darker, so a little bit of darker purple, kind of magenta purple around here too. So again, you can add more color to your stuff. And then right next to this pot right here, it was lighter. So I might come along here like this now, just using the flat of my brush and lighten up this. This is where you go back and you start playing with your contrast. Just learn to, this is really a good lesson for learning blending. And just sort of, I want it a little bit lighter down in here on the floor, and kind of at a funny angle, brush it off like that.
Where are you?
I'm way down here at the bottom. Down here, the bottom, down in here.
Sam, you're supposed to pay attention. I was looking at the chat.
Were you looking at the chat? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Claudia, this is so helpful. The breakdown of each petal. Does Ginger have a video like this for hydrangeas? Hydrangeas.
No, but we should have one. Well, do I? I don't remember. Do
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Not like this. This might be something we'll do. It's a special.
And I think I kept readjusting this lip, so I've got to repaint it because I have the line wrong now. Okay, so readjust the lip here. Then I'll take my line, put my little line here like this. If you need to, just kind of do something like this so you know where you're going with it, so that it's even. Okay, on the lip of the pot. That's kind of cool, isn't it? Bring this a little dark down here like that. Under here, just pull it and lift up. And just round the bottom.
Oh, I like it, man. You know, there's some sock photos out here that we've been stressing about that bottom and not being round on the left side.
Yeah, I know. We just had to fix it.
I know, and I said, look, you know, just be patient. It will get fixed up. We don't have to say anything.
Nope, you know.
Until she said it was done, and then we would get all over it.
Well, you could, and sometimes I'm looking at a monitor and I haven't held this up to a mirror to, you know, double check my stuff. So if you see it, you know, tell me. I don't mind. You know, I might not have gotten it.
Oh, you say that to the fans, but if I say something, you get all over me. I'm not done yet. Go away.
That's true. This is true. Very astute of you to notice that. Well, John, if anything, is not slow on the uptake. He just is right there. Johnny on the spot. Ha!
Yep, Johnny on the spot.
Johnny
hey,
on
is the
spot.
painting in the upright corner the original or Ginger's also? It is Ginger's also.
It's Ginger's also.
Ginger paints the lessons to make sure she can do them in a timely fashion before we do them for you.
Okay, so what I need underneath here now is some dark. It comes up underneath this flower. We're looking up at this flower, so I need a little dark. I'm using just the corner of the brush under here like this. Need a little dark under there, and then when I've got that, and there was a little dark under here like that. Okay, now what has to happen is a hairdryer. If I did a hairdryer on that, we'll see what I can do. Let's see. We're going to take some yellow. It's got a little bit of green in it. Now, I want to just say I want to go from here to there, yeah? So then, make a map, because sometimes it's harder to figure out where you're going. So I'm just going to pull that down there like that. Then maybe a dark green on this side. It will be easier for me. Is it easier for you to do one direction or another? For me, it's easier to come toward me than down. I don't know about you guys, but that's easier for me.
Oh, what?
Here, come down this way. I'm going over wet paint, so this is the problem. I'm going over something that's wet. That background's still wet, so it doesn't want to take this paint. There you go. Something like that. There. So there's that stem coming up there. Now, let's take a little bit of this orange color.
Back it out there, Sammy.
And back down to these leaves here. We're going to start putting some orange color on the leaves, a little bit right in here like this. Little orange color on this leaf, kind of a little kind of yellow-orange color. Like in here, and I want this leaf to be a little bit more yellow. This little edge of this leaf, I didn't quite get it, so I'm going to just do that same little trick with the brush. That little kind of funny little ruffly edge, like that. Okay? And maybe just take a little bit of dab of color, like that, on the leaf, and then maybe there was just a couple up here that there was a little bit of red somewhere. Little cad red right there, okay, on that leaf. There was a little bit of red right here on the pot. Even a little bit of naphtha. It was almost darker. Okay, like this. And I think I had it dark, a little bit of darker red under here too. All right, like that. Now let's see. Let's put this stem back here. Sure, we've got a good stem on that. Now, what was cool about this one was it came up into here like this. You just saw there was these little bits of green right there. And because this is still wet, I'm really just dropping the paint, barely touching it. Because otherwise, I would tell you to dry it before you try this. Okay, so there was a little bit of green coming up underneath that part of the flower. And let's see, I want a little bit more blue-green here on this edge of our leaf, like there. Kind of lighten up this edge. So this is where we're starting to add some color. Okay, so here's a little bit of a leaf that's coming this way.
And also doing where there's a light, there's a dark?
Yeah, that's the light-dark business.
Light-dark business. Ooh, we've got the Reader's Digest version of now. Light-dark business.
Light-dark business. But see how it's starting to pop out, right? And again, you've got different shades of green that you may want to put somewhere. Maybe this is a little brighter green right here on this part right there. So again, nothing is just one color. That's that's the lesson from this. Nothing is ever just one color. And the more you kind of get, let's just kind of finish this leaf off. There you go, like that.
Ray would like to remind you that the small leaf floating under the flower on the right, unless it's falling.
This one?
Yeah.
So it is. Good thought. Good thought.
It's falling right now.
It's falling. So let's connect it to something. Let's connect it. It had some dark under here. I remember why, because there was some dark, almost a blue color under this. There was some dark, dark under here like this. And then it came up under here like that. So it's part of this somehow. And then there was this little light one went over it. It seems to me like this was above it. Like that. And then we put, oh yeah, this gets really good. Then we're saying that there's a little bit of a bud right here. On there, like that. And let's get some light orange on it too. And some dark red. There we go. There's just a little bit of a red thing happening there. So, how are we doing? Pretty good here, yeah?
Yeah, yes and yes.
Yes and yes. I'm going to darken this up in here with a little bit of darker red color. I tried to keep it pretty true to his. I know that his, let's get a little bit of orange red here, like in here. I tried to keep it pretty true. Probably the first one's more true than this one, because I have this leaf coming down over this pot, which I didn't have in the first one. But I don't think that that's critical, okay? And I've got this leaf coming out a bit more on this side, like that, just kind of making that one a little bigger, so it's over the edge of here. And want this sort of blue color. So you've got the warm blues and the cool, warm and cool greens. Got the flowers. Now, what you can do, this is where you can get your, these are pretty good. This is where you can start getting your expensive paints. All right, now this is a System 7. It's called Matisse Scarlet Deep. And this is where you can just, I didn't even put it out on the picture. I'm just going to put it and lift it. Well, this is dry and a couple, kind of damp.
Taking it right from the tube.
Right from the tube.
Even though you can't see it.
And then just putting it on right from the tube and putting it, and then I might come back with a little yellow, right, let's see, let's get it on the, I'm a right-handed person, so I want it on the right side of the brush, right? Barely touch it.
And Susan is asking, who was the artist?
Rodin.
Rodin?
Yeah. We've done a lot of his. We've done a lot of his pictures.
We keep digging them up.
We keep digging them up, and I think we want this one, this side darker. I don't think I want as much yellow on this side, so I just take that out. It's a little magenta. So I love, I just really like, I like the idea of this. We have some great geranium paintings on, pictures on our, beginner lesson geraniums on our website that are not quite as probably as complicated as this as far as how the leaves go and all that stuff. But I thought this was a good one in that, you were looking at it from a different angle. Yeah. And, you had that sort of dark, you were looking up at the geranium, which I thought was kind of cool. It was a little bit different and definitely a different, just put a few dots of this dark right there. And that's our picture, you guys. And that's what we're doing with it. So, I think it's it's a fun one, and I thought it was a little bit different, something a little bit different. A good way to blend the flower pot, good blending on all these colors. And I, quite frankly, would have never thought to do this sort of peach background. It just wouldn't have occurred to me at all. And it's fun because the more you do, with your layers, the better it gets. It's just, to me, it's just really kind of neat. And if you need something else, just don't you love the light blues and the and the greens in this and these colors. I love the colors in this. So I'm going to sign it. We're going to call it done. Any other questions before we go on to our next project?
Can we put the two of them side by side?
Yeah.
Wait, one second. I got to turn off your palette.
Sure, we can.
I got to find your palette. Turn off the palette. Got to back up a skosh.
We can put them side by side, absolutely.
Yeah,
I got to do one thing first.
Of course you do.
I've got to darken this.
Because you signed it. Of course you got to do more.
I've got to just darken this leaf right here, this little shadow by this leaf right there. Okay, yeah, sure. I'm going to put it like this.
Okay, now don't move it. I'll move. There we go.
I got them pretty close, don't you think so?
I had a little fatter pot on the second one. I like the second one better.
Well,
I always usually like the second one better than your first one.
I think it took up. I did this almost exactly like his, and this pot takes up a little more space in the picture. His didn't, and so I like the balance on this pot a little better too. Yeah. Right? For me, I liked it, and could you suggest that there was some pot back here? You're just not going to paint it all. Maybe it's destiny not to happen. Let's look. Something like that. Yeah, that little mark there is sort of interesting, isn't it?
Is that the back of the pot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there, and then make this dark in here. Just that little line right there to suggest the back of the pot. Sometimes, that kind of stuff doesn't hurt. And listen, just because somebody else did something, maybe you have a better way to do it. You know what I mean? You're going, yeah, Ginger, this is good, but, if this were me, I would do this. And, if that were you and you would do that, then do that. Part of me, now that I see it, right? You guys trust me on this? Now that you've seen how he did his, right? I want a leaf coming this way. Just do, right?
Joyce is asking the question, I'm wanting to get better with my supplies. Which do I invest in first, brushes or paint?
Brushes. And I got somebody else asked that because this came up in a private message. Don't private message me. please, when you have questions, I never look at those things.
No, she
I
doesn't.
never look at them, and not being mean. I just not ignoring you. I just ignore everybody. I mean, Cinnamon could private message me. I'd never see it. You know, I'm lucky to answer the phone. So if if you do the
But
contact
she
us,
doesn't even do that when I'm trying to call her.
and if you do the contact us, okay, if you do the contact us, then chances are someone will see it. Probably John, but someone will
And
see
I'll
it.
ask the question and give you the answer.
They're gonna do. Oh, look, I like that even better, don't you? See, I can sit there and play with this all day. The little tiny bit of yellow like that, and then shove it around like snow. Just move that little rag. What did we call kind of an edge? Did we call this?
Ruffle.
Ruffle. Yeah, a little
It's a
ruffled
ruffle.
edge. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. See, that's cool, right? So anyway, then yeah, let's just do that. Yeah. Okay. Still playing. So the question is, what was the question? I forgot now. You've lost
I want to
me.
invest in supplies, paint.
Oh yeah, supplies.
or
So
brushes.
here's the thing. We have a video on YouTube on art supplies, and which we do. We should probably put that in there just all the time in our stuff. You know what I mean?
Probably should
I want
be
a little
all
bit
our
of
stuff.
this green down here on the ground too. He didn't do it, but I'm sorry. I want a little bit of green color down here. Oh yeah, sorry. Uh, you can see, well, you could put it or not. I just like it, right? Just I like to ground my stuff a little more than he does. But that being said, okay, that being said, uh, then the question is brushes. If you these ruby satin silver brushes, these short handle ones are so great. And if you go to the Brush Guys, www.thebrushguys.com, they have a teacher page, and you can find me. But your discount applies to any brushes you put in your cart on that site. So you get 5% off if you mention my name. Don't make a space between it. Ginger Cook, all one word. And that's, to me, I really like them. They have kind of free shipping over a certain point. They ship all over the world. I think they were charging one of our friends, Sylvia
In
Australia. She got, I think she said her shipping for all her brushes was $25. Well, she lives in Australia. That's pretty good, okay? And we've had other Europeans tell us they really appreciate them, okay? And I appreciate them, and I like the fact that the Silver Brush Company I'm very fond of their brushes and everything, and my daughter is has a wonderful brand of brushes too, which I like her brushes too. You can also find those on the site and still get the discount using my name. Nobody's giving me any brushes. I'm buying them just like you.
Yeah,
How's
we
that?
spent a fortune on them. Just a
And
little bit ago.
we spent like $200 on brushes last month.
$277.
$277 was it? Because we do a lot of paintings and brushes wear out. But that's a good place. And then the next thing you want to start is if you're upgrading your paint, make sure you have a heavy body. Well, we'll talk about that as we do a short picture. All right.
A short picture.
A 10-minute picture. We're going to do a drawing, and there's some water here. All right, you guys like that? I think they came out. I kind of like this one better. I don't know about you, but
Everybody does.
so.
I like number 2 better.
Well, there's an artist and watercolor artist very famous who was teaching watercolor, and she said you should do something 10 times, and by the 10th time you'll really be good at that painting. I think I'd be bored out of my mind, but anyway, doing it a couple times doesn't hurt. All right, so as we do our 10-minute painting.
Oh, wait. We want to thank Deborah for making the donations through the PayPal system. It's the last one came in.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Deborah.
We have got, the secret word is the bee's knees.
That's 2 words.
Oh,
That's
and
3 words.
I changed the form to support that 2 words too.
The bee's knees is bee's knees 1 word?
No, I made it 2 words. Whoops, that's not the right one.
I'm just asking. I mean, listen, isn't he the one that's always challenging me because I'm thinking the word the, bees, whatever you spell.
No, bee's knees.
Uh-huh.
Alexa, is bee's knees 1 word?
Here's something I found on Wikipedia. Flappers were a generation of young Western women in the 1920s who wore short sleeves.
We don't want to hear about bee's knees and flappers.
And flaunted their disdain for what was then considered acceptable behavior. Did that answer your question?
I'm not sure. Something about the ladies and their knees showing in the 20s?
The bee's knees. Wow. Just imagine. Well, remember, you got to remember,
It's the bee's
long
knees.
dresses, and suddenly this hemline just didn't go up a few inches. It went up a lot, didn't it? I mean, the hemline's changed. All right, so we always forget about that stuff. Okay, so we're gonna be doing this 10-minute giveaway. That's the secret. This is for those of you who are watching this later. This is sort of a thank you for our guys that have hung in there with us on our live shows and have joined us. So we appreciate our group of people. How many people we have today, John?
We had a high of 571 on a Saturday.
It's a Sunday.
On a Sunday, even.
So thank you very much.
On one of these 2 days.
Okay. Well, we thank you very much for that, right? So we think that's just great, and we appreciate it very much. I think we should do. I think we're so into flower pots today. We should just do another flower pot. What do you guys think? Yeah, another couple flower pots. Let's just do 2 flower pots. Let's be the last of the big spenders.
Oh, you're always the last of the big spenders. You think we're made of money?
Obviously not, but you got to be optimistic, John. That's
Absolutely.
important.
That is so true.
I don't like that. Okay, so if I did that, we're just going to do one pot. We're just going to do one big pot. Yay! All right, one big pot. One big pot. That sounds good. Yep, everybody's good with that?
Sure.
All right, so let's just talk about how we could do something like this, because everybody kind of liked today's picture, right? So we're going to do something a little different, but on the same idea, yeah? Same idea, but we're going to do just something a little different.
And you happen to be using one of Cinnamon's brushes there, so Art Sherpa's?
Yeah, it's one of Art Sherpa's brushes. I mean, the Silver Brush Company is my favorite brush company, and they make really good brushes, and they make them in all different price levels, and she has them in different price levels. I've been using Silver Brush Companies for their brushes for years, okay, mostly the ruby satin silvers, and I never, I met the lady that, owns the company. I saw her one time at a art supply store, or show, arts thing show, kind of a wholesale art show Cinnamon let me come to, and this is a company that really, they're not just, they're not making car tires and brushes. They're making artist brushes.
That's all they do.
That's what they do. I mean, they're not. Sometimes companies will, certain companies will then go to China and they'll get all kinds of stuff. Well, we need this and we need that and we need this and we're going to make this and we're going to make that, and then there aren't any products that are really all that great because they're so diversified. Nobody's focused. When you're focused on stuff, this is why we do acrylics. We don't teach a pastel. We don't teach a multimedia. We teach acrylics. Someone says, do you teach oil? No, we don't teach oil. We teach acrylics. Okay? We're focused on that. And we're really good at what we do. And they're really good at what they do because that's what they focus on is brushes. And this is and they've been doing it for a long time. And probably some of the most successful professional artists in the world will tell you that they use their brushes. Okay? And there's a reason for it.
Hey, we'd like to thank Arlinda for the donation. And we have a comment here from Donna. Today is our 40th wedding anniversary, and I decided to spend it with you and John instead of going out. LOL, love your painting. And we appreciate that. I don't know if your husband does, but by golly.
Well, he's off the hook. He probably does, John.
Probably.
He's going, great, we don't have to go out. I didn't want to go out anyway, right? What was that lady? She'd been married what 70 years? She said 50 or whatever it was. That was the old joke. And she says, I want you to try to be a little romantic. I want a little, why don't you give me a little nibble on the ear? And he goes, my teeth are on a glass in the bathroom. Go bite your own ear, right? Sorry. That's an old joke. I remember that from when I was 13 years old. When I was 13, I thought that was hilarious. Now I don't think this is funny at all. There's nothing funny about this at all. I'm sorry I even said it. Just, I apologize to everybody. But, right?
John, one day, would Ginger consider painting a small picture in house paint and one in Matisse, the same painting?
No.
And why not?
Because I'm not going to go out and spend $50 on house paint just to satisfy your curiosity. House paint is not. I have painted a mural. Here's what I've done. I've painted murals on the wall using house paint for the background and then acrylic paint for the details. And I can, if you go to my website, my old one, Ginger Cook. You want to see what that looks like? Ginger Cook. studios.com and go to murals, and you'll see that when my granddaughter was little, I did her this Bugs, Peter Rabbit, huge, all 4 walls were painted with a giant mural, and all the background, the sky, and some of the, things that were going to take a lot, like the hills and stuff, were all done with house paint, and then all the animals and creatures were done with acrylic paint. So that's what it looks like. Okay.
There you go.
So I don't even have. You can just go see that. I'm going to dry this real quick.
Okay, go right ahead. Hey, I want to remind everybody you have an auction going on right now at gingercookauction.com. We've got puzzles and paintings currently. We'll have Ginger show one of the puzzles here.
Oh yeah, what was that? Where's our auction pieces? They're
Right
way over there. I can't reach those.
You stacked everything else on top of it. We can show what you're doing next week.
Well, all right. To Monday, by the way, Monday to us tomorrow. Okay, so anybody's confused about this. This is the painting we're doing tomorrow. All right, another old dead artist guy. This is, but I don't think I'm telling you who he is. But it was originally inspired by an old dead artist.
On the back?
No. And then, but the canvas your canvas dark brown. If you want to paint this with me tomorrow, right? And we've got some new lessons coming up in our academy. I want you to see some stuff that's coming up. Look at this. This is by Gauguin. Originally, this is before he went bamboo on the island.
And he went bamboo.
And to Tahiti and painted all the natives. Remember that guy? This is what he painted before. So we've got this old French country farm. That's coming up on our video lesson library for our members.
And that looks a lot better than his does.
And then, for instance, if this particular painting was one I had done and sold some years ago after my trip to France. We stayed in this town, La Bastide, and I licensed this painting to a puzzle company, and they made this neat puzzle. And I got a few samples, and we're just sort of selling off the rest of the samples. John and I decided if we moved, we didn't want to move, box full of puzzles. So anyway, this is one of the puzzles on our auction site. And the one that I'm the most proud of, okay, I have to tell you, is that Norman Rockwell was one of my favorite artists, American artists of all time. I used to watch this Saturday Evening Post, and they'd have his artwork in it. Remember him? Well, here's one of Norman Rockwell's paintings right here. It's a puzzle. It's a 5-puzzle collection. And then it's called the Artist Collection. And here's Cook right here. Here's my painting right next to Norman Rockwell's. And it's the next biggest one. Sorry, I can say that, right? And then some other artists that have done it too, right? But here we go. What do you think of that? How neat is that? So that's one of the puzzles, Artist Collection. And we have some puzzles on our auction website, gingercookauction.com. Yes?
gingercookauction.com.
And then we've been adding a few auction pieces. I'm letting this dry. Auction pieces this week. More. I thought this was a Van Gogh, oleanders, and we have a lesson on our. If you haven't done this on our website, a video lesson library, we have so many paintings that a lot of people don't think to do it. But this is one of the paintings we're also offering in the auction. This is my painting, but this was originally after Van Gogh. And you guys, I know everybody loved this. This was one of our favorite pictures on YouTube. One of our most favorite tutorials on YouTube. If you haven't done this balcony of flowers, you ought to go look for it. And also, this is our painting in our auction piece. Orzie, the horse. This horse. Everybody said, when are you going to put this one up for sale? This is Orzie. And she actually was a horse that I had owned for a while, and a good friend then, took care of her. But anyway, this is Orzie. And then we have like 40, so I'm not going to show you them all. I just wanted to show you a few of these. And then we had hesitated ever doing the Wave and Water masterclass paintings for a long time. We resisted putting those on the auction. But we do have this. I love this big wave with the storm and so forth. And that's one of them. So those are just a few of the things that we've got I can show you. And I will keep painting.
Let that good and dry now.
Yeah, this is good and dry. So, I mean, this is kind of fun. I think this is kind of fun to do. We love the auctions. And also, sometimes some people have said, and that this is just them saying it, but they have said that they appreciate the fact that they can see the paintings up close. you know, and see how I painted them, see the brush strokes and so forth, which is kind of nice. And again, we have a payment plan on the auction. We realize that some people want to buy stuff, but this, you know, maybe the month that you know, everybody's paying income tax isn't the month to buy something. So though the auction will be over in May, so we have a payment, you know, offering too. If somebody wanted to make payments on something, wanted to buy it, don't let that stop you. We've been very good about letting people do that too. Okay. So anyway, that's a bit on our auction. Now on the art supplies, I said I'd talk to you about that. If you're using student grade art supplies, it's very inexpensive to buy professional grade white, and you really want to do that, even if you can't afford the other colors. Be sure to get the white, and I can't stress that enough. That's a very white. Your student grade white doesn't cover very well. It's very frustrating, and if you just get the white, you'll be just ever so much happier. Okay, and then the next color I would get would be probably cad red medium. Get a good red and a good yellow. Somebody says, well, should I get it cad free? That's up to you, whatever. But you either want the hue or the actual color, but you want the professional grade of that heavy body. Okay, so that's something that you might want to consider, you know, doing. And let's see, what would be the next colors? It's kind of in the list of, you know, of importance of what you might want to get for something. Would be, you know, your reds, and then I would probably get dazzling purple. Believe it or not, that's a really that color is really terrific. And magenta is another one. Your reds, start getting your reds, and then I would go get the other colors.
Then get your blues
and so forth, and your browns. And that kind of stuff.
The white's really the key because you use a lot of white.
Yeah, the white, and you could do that now. That's not that expensive. The colors are, if you look at our Adventures in Red, Adventures in Blue, Adventures in Yellow on YouTube, you'll notice I've got some of those. Okay, and if you look at that, you'll notice that paints have numbers on them. Paint tubes have numbers, and they don't go from brand to brand. They don't mean diddly squat. And like, for instance, this is a series 3, okay? This is purple. White's a series 1. Generally speaking, in watercolor, acrylics, and oils, the higher the number, though, I mean, the numbers don't mean anything different from brand to brand, but the higher the number, the more expensive the paint, okay? So if you know, white's a 1, brown's a 1. There's a lot of different colors that are 1s. What you're paying for is pigments and the cost of the ingredients of making the color. So you're going to be paying a lot more for, say, a red because it's more expensive than you would say a white or brown. Okay, so and certain blues are, you know, less at money. So those are just some things to think about if you're thinking about upgrading your paint. And one thing that's really good, all of you guys should have, if you don't have it, all of you guys should have the little jar of golden white. You can get a tiny one, about half the size, of just the liquid. It's a heavy body. It's not a heavy body paint, but it's a pigmented paint, heavy pigmented paint, white, and it's a fluid white, and it's very nice for detail. And that kind of stuff will save you a lot of you know, hours of just fooling around with stuff, right? Okay, so this is coming out fairly fast, don't you think so? How am I doing? Am I doing all right?
You're doing perfect. I mean, any better, and I wouldn't know what to do.
Okay, so all right, so we got some leaves. We'll just put a few geranium stems on here like that, and we'll just because I know that you guys like the geraniums, so let's do that. Let's put a nice big geranium here, and maybe one here. We're going to do one here. We're going to have one here. We're going to do 3, just because we can, right? So, any other questions, John? I think that kind of answered it, didn't it?
Yes, you did. I've seen no other questions at the moment.
All right. So I hope you guys did that. Those of you who are members of our academy, I hope that you are enjoying your video art coaching, where you send me the picture and actually make a video and talk to you personally about how we're doing it. We've had some people, I've seen some great results doing that. Okay. And so I want to keep doing that. Don't do it every one. We don't necessarily do it every. Sometimes I can just do a note to you and say do this or do that. But if it needs some attention, I've spent as much as 30 minutes on one video for people, and I don't mind doing it. Spending a little time doing that for you, and I'll just do this like this, then come back here with some reds.
And remember, Facebook group is getting very close to closing. We're less than 150 to go. And it'll be only available to Art Academy, active Art Academy members.
Well, I mean, if you're already a member of Facebook, you obviously we're not kicking you
grandfathered
out.
in.
You're grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Right? We're looking at this flower in a little different light than we did this other. Okay? We're seeing these a little bit differently. Maybe we'll make pinker ones.
Stephanie says, video art coaching is the bee's knees. See? Helen says, Ginger, you are the best at art coaching. Thank you so much for everything.
Well, I'm glad. I know that it sometimes it just helps if I explain it, and I understand that.
Do acrylics have an expiration date? My new CAD yellow seems thick.
No, but they have a freezing date.
A freeze and not freeze.
Yeah, if they've frozen, then they're just all unhappy. Golden claims that theirs can be frozen more than other brands, and I don't know that. I do not know that that's true, but that's what they've told people, and it may be true. Okay. Let me just move some stuff here. I need my magenta. So I like the pink ones, don't you? Just thought it might be fun to do pink ones. But it doesn't have to be. They don't have to be, red. They could be pink.
Jennifer painted with Ginger today.
Oh, she did? Okay, yeah.
Oh, if
good.
you're in the Facebook group, put it in, and we'll see how you ended up doing. Carmen says love the coaching is so valuable. It does speed the process, guys.
It seems
if you
like
really want to learn how to paint, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and I'm telling you what, it's been night and day difference in some cases, just what people have seen, because painting is all about painting patterns. A lot of times it's just about patterns, okay? And, sometimes you just need you just need the pattern explained, like we did with the I like a little in front of this pot too. Don't you guys too think that's kind of a nice design to just have a little of the pot showing like that?
Yeah. Heather would like to know, is there a way to fix paint that has frozen?
No, it's called return it. This is why we encourage people to open up your paint right away and see how it is when you buy it, because if you wait a few months and then you start whining about it, they're not going to refund your money. Well, they might not. It's unlikely that they will. Whoops, we just knocked something over. It doesn't matter. We don't need it now, John. All right, so he's rescuing everything that I've dropped and getting it out of the way, which is understandable. He gets so fun with this. right? It's just understandable how you might feel compelled to do that.
It's in my nature. I can't help it.
I know you can't help yourself. It's okay. We're it's all right. It's all right. We're just gonna try to push all this back here like this. Push all this back like this. Push all this back here.
Well, we've got almost 500 people watching, and only 258 want this geranium painting.
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe they're somewhere where they can't. You know what I mean?
That could be.
It could be at work, and it's not that they don't want the geranium painting. It's just that they can't. Where they're at, they're not allowed access to the to facilitate where they might do it, right? How's that? Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
I just like a little more color on some of this sometimes. And I haven't really done a little ridge like we did on the other pot. Guess I could just suggest a ridge. Suggest a little bit here and here like that. All right, I think we're done. I think this is a good 10-minute painting. What do you guys think? Yeah?
Oh, I love it. It's another keeper.
So, there's our 10-minute painting. I hope you guys thought this was fun. And I'll sign it, and let's give it away.
Well, let's turn off our... So last call, well, I'm turning off the stuff. Boink, boink. There we go. Okay, last call. We're going to have our young lady pick a number.
Did you take the paintings away I just did?
I don't know what you just do.
Well, the ones that we painted today, I think you grabbed them and put them away. Well, I want to just show them next to this. We want to finish off with those, right? Hello? Hello?
One moment, please.
We didn't show the painting I was going to do that we're releasing. I guess we'll tell you that tomorrow what we're going to release for this week for our members. But we've got a really cool one. Okay.
This is when you.
Yeah. All right. So I just want you to see that here's the geraniums painted in pinks, right? A little different background.
Okay, just hold on a second there because now the screen's not going to let you. Hold on. And let me do that, and let me move the camera. Okay, now you can talk about it.
See how we just did a little bit, add a little bit more purple?
I like the pink ones.
Yeah, I kind of do too. I like the pink ones, right?
Yeah,
well,
but now see, your little one doesn't have as pink of a background as the other one does. So
no, the other one had a pink background, so that you couldn't do the pink. I toned down the background, did it more gold, and then did pink ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's there's little tricks to this, right?
Tricks to the trade.
Yeah. See, and I could just do more pink ones on top, right?
All right, closing off the entry form.
I'm going to put a couple of petals down here. I always like that. No one else does that but me. I always put a few that drop. Because that's what happens to my flowers. They're all falling on the table. They want water. They want something. They're so needy. So needy. In fact, I gave away an urn yesterday that, the association told me I had this big planter, and some of these homeowners association said that I had to plant it. And I thought, I don't. I'm just someone else can have it. I don't have to do anything. Just go away. So anyway, there we are. I will sign it. I like this one, you guys. Again, let's see what do a 10-minute one, see what kind of flowers. Look up geraniums. Look at the different colors they come in. They make white ones too. You could do kind of white, kind of purpley blue ones. Be pretty. Yeah.
You think they do white ones?
Yeah, you could do white ones, and then have the shadow be more of the blues. I do ultramarine blue and purple and white, as in they're really white, but you're shading them. Yeah.
That'd be pretty. All right, we have 272 entries. Alexa, pick a number between 1 and 272.
Your random number between 1 and 272 is 219.
Wow, 219.
Yeah, she's going to the end of the block.
Incidentally, this is the size you can get for the you can get little bottles of this, and I would get the white, maybe dark brown, because those are very fluid and very nice for detail. Just if you're just talking about wanting to own a few things and make life easy, and then of course a brush like this makes life easy. I thought I had. Where's this? Where's my clear one? Here, I want a
Thank you,
little
Bonnie.
smaller one.
Heather Whitman is the winner. Heather, if you're out there, you're going to go to our website, gingercooklive.gallery, and use the Contact Us form, and give me your mailing address. Please. Why do you have the red slash? Always comes up.
Why do we have the red slash?
The red slash through your name?
Oh, because when you're leaving, when I was looking for a signature logo, when I was with Cinnamon in France in 2000, what I noticed in France was they don't say leaving Paris or leaving La Bastide. They just put the name of the sign with a red slash through it. And that means you've left town. And I thought that was a good way to have a signature. Put my name in the red slash through it. Kind of means I'm done.
Kind of means you're done. That to me, I've seen it kind of means I have another hour to go.
Yeah, I know. But look what happens when something dries enough.
There you go again.
But I mean, isn't that? Come on, that's pretty. Wasn't that pretty? I mean, when you do that like that, look at that with the green, look at that next to the purple. I mean, that's gorgeous. So
gorgeous.
I love that. I love color. Don't you guys love color? And once you understand, that color wheel, that sort of warm and cool colors, and kind of playing off each other like that, this kind of gets to be fun, doesn't it?
The relationship of colors.
Yeah, so here's our giveaway. Congratulations to that.
Heather.
And put our brushes in water. We had a really good time today. I hope you did. Love you guys. And want to give a shout out to anybody that's feeling kind of like, maybe the day got a little sad. I hope we brightened it up for you today. Just there's great love here for you, and we thank you for watching. Subscribe.
What's that?
Subscribe to the channel.
Oh, yeah.
I said that.
Oh, yeah, we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to ask that. They keep telling us to do that.
Subscribe to the channel, please.
Pretty please.
Share and put this stuff in your playlist. Make a playlist. Put it in. That way everybody sees it. I'll put this back. Can I put these back and move the paint?
You can do that. You don't have to move the paint. Put them closer together. That'll work.
Does that work? All right. So you can kind of see what it would be like to do pink or
there we go.
Green or
perfect.
Something like that.
All right, guys. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Hope to see you all then. And
keep the ideas coming, and your comments are appreciated. And I try to get back to everybody. Just don't private message me.
No, don't private message her. You can private message me, but not Ginger. It will do you no good. I can't even private message her. Doesn't work. I'm trying to find where our thumbnail is. Ah, here we go. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I'm a student, I say with glee, of Ginger Cook's Academy. Take your time and do not rush. Use ruby satin silver brush. Don't use black and mix the green. Learn what blend and grayscale mean. Yes, I hope each day to earn coaching praises as I learn. I'll be an artist, wait and see. Ginger means the world to me.